Okay, and we are live. So, hi everyone. Hello to all the ninjas and the samurais alike. Hi everyone. Thank you everyone for joining us, whether it's here on Zoom or on YouTube, Twitter, or even our Facebook live stream. So enjoy your live trading session with Mr. Lachlan here. Listen to what he has to say. Take notes, enjoy your trading session, and I'll join you guys a little bit later on today to say hello, remind you of a few things, maybe tease about some upcoming, more interesting things that we have. You know, we like to do that here on the live trading room sessions. And that's pretty much it, guys. Enjoy. And I'll try to join you guys for a little bit of a Q&A later on before we finish the session.
Perfect. So hi everybody, Lockie here. Hope you're absolutely fantastic. I'm just getting your slideshow up and running. Now, that being said, of course, it's actually gone to the wrong screen, which makes my job interesting. So let me just go and get this for you. All right, I'm just going to muck around with this PowerPoint. Guys, it's literally going to the wrong screen. It's a different monitor from yesterday. So again, I think PowerPoint is a little bit upset with me. That's all right. I'm slowly winding through the monitors. One of the disadvantages of having so many monitors is that eventually you're going to get to the right monitor. Just hold on one sec. There we go. So I hope you guys and girls are very, very well. Let me grab the chat. Also make sure that everybody can chat to everybody. So you've got, guys, the ability to say hello and do what you need to do. Now, with that being said, Ahmed, how are you? I hope you're absolutely fantastic. Let me get my screen share up for you. In a perfect world, there we go. So our sound, guys, should be booming through, which I trust it is. It would appear cameras are working. Let me bring you across onto that screen. Guys, we are good. Now I'm going to grab a couple of microphones, guys, just to make sure that everything is working as it is meant to work. I do trust.
Hi, mate. How are you? Hi,
good.
everyone.
No, that's a good hint that we're moving in the right direction. George in Victoria, your mic
Plus 10, plus 60.
You're already trading. I'm not surprised. So guys, the markets look like they're going to be really good fun today. So the volume is lifting quite nicely. So welcome, guys. Welcome. Guys, today we are doing a joint live trading room as we do every Thursday with the Trading Pit. So my first point of call was always to say thank you to the Trading Pit as for their support in the journey. It's been a lot of fun so far, and we're reaching out to lots of budding professional traders globally, and that's always good fun. So welcome to the session, guys. Clearly, the session is live. There's no doubt about that. So as a result of that, we are going to do our best to call as many profitable trades as we can. We're also going to do our best to avoid any losing trades. We've had a good week this week, guys. So let's hope that the momentum continues. I would suggest the market is going to buy relatively hard today, guys. I think we're going to be buying the market for long-range targets, which will be good fun. Now, speaking of all the things that are good fun, for those that have just joined me, numbers are climbing. So my name is Lockie, guys. I'm going to host you in the webinar today. Guys, we are going to be trading futures and CFDs today. What does that ultimately mean? Guys, there is risk in taking trades. So we've got to understand there's two primary risks in trading. There's a risk of making money and also losing money. So we need to be acutely aware of that. What you will find, ladies and gents, is we're very, very clued on regarding risk. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be cutting our risk off. We're going to be letting our profit run. As I'll be giving you risk control points to help you navigate the field. Now, because we are trading futures and CFDs, guys, both of those are now traded on margin. What does that mean? You borrow a little bit of money every time you take a trade. What does that mean? Guys, we can actually make money quite quickly. We can also lose money quite quickly. So therefore, guys, you'll find today that categorically we are professional risk controllers. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Now, guys, everything we're going to be doing today is actually general information only. Now, I do need to also mention that everything we're doing today is for education purposes only. Guys, now, interesting point, there will be a number of you that agree with the signals that I'm talking about today, and if so, absolutely fantastic. So ultimately what we're doing is we're educating in the live market. The reason we do that is it's ultimately the best time was to not only get your questions answered, but also make sure that if you've got a query or a question or anything going on about a particular trade, guys, you can actually get it answered on the spot, which is good fun. Now, in saying that, guys, the focus for the first 35 to 40 minutes will be taking as many trades as we possibly can with the intent of making as much money as we possibly can. Guys, the last 15 or so minutes of the session is the best time to be asking questions. Now, past performance, guys, key point, past performance is no longer an indication of future performance. We can't say, hey, check out what we did yesterday. That might indicate what we're going to do today. Guys, also there are market risk factors involved in what we do. So as much as I'm going to be running live charts today, obviously running straight from a futures exchange, guys, I will give you a certain price or draw a line on the chart saying this is exactly where I would enter. As the only thing we must take into account today in terms of risk factor is that we have different internet speeds around the world. So you've got to do your best, guys, if you agree with what I'm doing, to basically take the trade where I say take the trade and get in and get out where I choose to do the same. Now, there'll be a lot of people, guys, a lot of people out there in the world. Some of you might be using CFD platforms. Just be aware that if you are using CFDs, you will have to cross the broker-induced price spread in order to get into the market. So you may find that it's a little bit more difficult to get into the market where we're choosing to get in and vice versa. But we'll deal with that, guys. We'll deal with that on the run. Now, by way of introduction, guys, my name is Lachlan. I'm the Chief Training Officer, guys, at Samurai, obviously the lead trader. I was effectively, my history, long story short, I started trading futures on the 1st of August 2007. Prior to that, I was a Forex and CFD trader. Again, I found out, I was having spent some time with Macquarie Bank in Sydney, I found out that the Forex markets weren't exactly what they were sold to be. So I switched to futures trading because of the design of the market, and suffice to say, my career took off from there. So I have been around trading for a little while. Ultimately, guys, my career started 1st of August 2007. Guys, decided to start my own trading school on the 1st of August 2009. Guys, I did that because ultimately I couldn't find a decent trading school in Australia that actually taught a strategy that worked. So I built my own strategies, my own indicators, and then decided to spread them with the world. And this is where we are. Now, guys, we're going to be looking for a variety of 10 different signals today. The most important things we're going to be focused on are the ones I've identified there on the left-hand side, guys, with WOW beside them. So CSA stands for candlestick analysis. So we will be identifying each of the strengths and weaknesses of a particular candle and ultimately determining, are we going to trade off that candle? So I'll be as clear as I possibly can with that. As there are two delta algorithms running behind the charts. That's an algorithm that tells us when to buy or when to sell, or if we're already in a trade, to stay with that particular trade. So all I'm going to do, ladies and gents, the buying deltas are green, the selling deltas are red. Key point with that is if I say that delta is good to go on the NASDAQ, then all of the delta traders will have already assessed whether that trade is a good one, guys, and we'll basically trade those deltas as per the volatility of the market. We are going to analyze, guys, all the way down the bottom. We're constantly analyzing stair step in the market, and we're also looking at ratios in the market. So there's two ways of entering the market. Guys, there's a dynamic entry and a static entry. Primarily, the difference being is that if you're a static chart trader, you're going to wait for the candle to close before you make a decision to buy or sell the market. As in waiting for the candle to close, we are 5-minute chart traders, so we're going to wait for the 5-minute chart to close before we make a decision. As the reason we are 5-minute chart traders and the reason we don't go under a 5-minute chart is the minimum institutional chart traded at the banks, guys, and the private hedge funds that I have either worked for or are in communication with. The minimum chart they use is a 5-minute chart. So they don't go down to a 3-minute chart, 2-minute or 1-minute chart. Therefore, we don't go down to the 3, the 2, or the 1, because ultimately institutional trading decisions, we want to be following what the big boys and girls are doing as opposed to the little boys and girls. Okay, big point. Now, guys, as I build on that little motto for everything we're going to be doing today, we're going to let the market do the heavy lifting. What does that ultimately mean? We let the market generate the signal for us, and only if the signal that's generated meets our sort of our risk and safety profiles would we then look to take the trade. There's going to be 4 charts. As when we log into the live trading room, we've got NASDAQ in the top left-hand corner, S&P in the bottom right, you've got FDAX top right, and FESX in the bottom right corner. Just be aware, guys and girls, that if you are brand new to what we do, the bottom charts are used as reference for the top charts. Okay, the beauty of that, exactly right. Guys, as Cole has said to everybody, we're simply the rowboats that get dragged along with the shipping liners. You're exactly right. And again, guys, a big point, the 5-minute chart, categorically, the 5-minute chart is the smallest institutional trading chart used in the institutions I'm in contact with. So ultimately, we never go lower than a 5-minute chart. Some people might tinker and play with smaller charts, guys, but we're not in the job of tinkering or playing. We're in the job of ultimately professional trading. So what to expect? As ultimately, we're a team of seasoned specialists. I've actually been on the European Open since literally I discovered the European Open in early 2009. So that's when I've decided to become a specialist. I can also trade the US Open and the US Close. I don't trade the US Open or US Close simply because it's in the middle of the night. I'm the kind of guy that likes to trade in the early evening, which it is now in Japan. Now, that being said, guys, when we go into the LTR, it'll be all about profit first, education second. There's quite a few people in the LTR today, guys. Typically, we sit around about the 70 traders. Guys, when we run the TTP series, we normally end up around about 100 traders. Guys, the vast majority of those people are in the markets to make money first. And then if they've got a question, they're going to ask that. And Remy, that's a huge trade. As we're about to go into the charts, and I've literally written on the charts, long range longs today on the American markets are looking really good. And Remy's just picked up a 100-tick trade, which is $500. So that's Remy, that's fantastic. So it's another thing to mention, if you're brand new to the session or you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or any of the social medias, just be aware that a number of traders that are in the live trading room, I've actually been coaching and trading with for 12 years. So you may see other profit put into the trading room. That's from the really experienced traders. Guys, so again, please don't get jealous about the profit that's being put in. I'd ask a better question. And the better question is, how can I work with Remy, for example, to get 100 ticks on the NASDAQ? That'd probably be a smarter question. Now, guys, we are going to be targeting a 90+% strike rate today in the LTR. As I won't be calling a trade unless it has already proven over hundreds of trades to have a plus 90% strike rate. So we don't call anything that is less than 90%. I'll explain that a little bit further as we need to. As every day, I'm putting a YouTube video out on the trade of the day. So if you're brand new to what we do and you want to see a little bit of history regarding what we've done as in the past, just simply jump onto YouTube, Samurai Day Trading, guys. You'll be able to watch some of our recent short movies. They're short videos. They're only 60 seconds long, so that won't take you long before you gather a bit of momentum there. Again, as that channel develops, there's more and more information going on there, which is always good fun. Now, further to that, guys and girls, personal considerations for today, if I can. The best trade for you is the trade that makes the most sense to you. If you're brand new to the session, probably a good idea just to watch, listen, and learn. Guys, we'll probably lead in volumes just on 50,000. So that would suggest between 12 and 14 trades in the 90 minutes we're going to be running the session with today. And if you are brand new to trading, guys, please watch, listen, and learn. A great time to ask the questions is in the last 15 minutes. The key point, ladies and gents, is that we typically don't take trades in the last 15 minutes of the hour. Why is that? If you are an FTAX trader or you want to be an FTAX trader, your success rate will drop by 30% in the last 15 minutes. So very, very good idea to avoid those last 15 minutes. The only exception will be a pivot-based reversal. And for the NASDAQ traders, guys, in the last 15 minutes, your success rate drops. FTAX drops by around about 70%. NASDAQ drops around about 30%. All right. So if you are going to focus on a close to 100% strike rate, guys, then no one's going to be trading the last 15 or so minutes. We typically do pick up a great trade, guys, on the turn of the hour. So in that last 15 minutes, you might miss a loss. It then turns around on the hour, becomes a big win. So you're far better off waiting for the turn of the hour. Now, naturally, guys and girls, if you are an experienced trader, please just guide yourselves as you need to. Again, I'll give you tips and tricks on target and risk management at the end of the day. As if you know what you're doing, you'll be able to manage your trade accordingly. Guys, please note that I'm going to seek to maximize the profit earned every trade. So we're going to go well over a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. As ultimately, when the market allows, we're going to do that. If the market doesn't allow, we're still going to take trades, guys, but we will be controlling our risk on those trades, as I spoke about earlier. Guys, please also note that if a trade does require too much risk, so if you have a maximum of, Lockie, I don't want to risk more than $100 or $200 on a trade, as if a trade is over your risk profile, please don't let me romance you into taking a trade that you otherwise wouldn't normally take. As if the market does get volatile, there is the potential today, as I look at the markets, for a little bit of volatility. As if it does get volatile, that's okay. What we'll do is I'll simply be very, very clear about the risk. A couple of pieces, guys. Last time in the webinar, I was asked a number of things, guys. So let me squash that now already. If you want to download the Broker's Exposed book, it's a book I've just released on why we trade futures, guys. It's available on the front of the Samurai Day Trading website. Guys, naturally, I've told you about YouTube, and also, guys, the Starter Pack video series is ready to roll. That's a free educational video series that tells you basically why we do what we do, how we do what we do, and gives you a really, really good idea of why we're futures traders, not anything else. Guys, all of those are available on the front of the Samurai website. So if you want, you can do some homework. If you're a reader, you can read. If you're a watcher, you can watch. Suffice to say, there's a ton of information there for you. So let's get into it, guys and girls. I'm going to close that one. Let me close that one down. Oh, there we go. And in a perfect world, we're going to end up with charts. Now, I did say we're looking for long range longs. All right. So as our charts here, I've prepared the preparation for this session, just so you're aware, it takes around about 45 minutes as an absolute minimum. I do believe, guys, I do believe that we're looking for long range buying signals. Okay, long range buying signals. Now, I do note, guys, where is this coming from? As again, my humble opinion, the S&P 500 is stalled, guys, at the 76 Fibonacci on the 4-hour chart. Now, that immediately alerts me to the fact that the S&P 500, which is the primary reference chart for the NASDAQ, thinks it's in a 4-hour move. Now, if these guys think they're in a 4-hour move, guys, we're going to be producing really, really lovely buying trades to the high side. Now, the FDAX, guys, has absolutely taken off, It has a lot of repair to do with the damage that was done to it over the last 3 to 4 days. Whereas even the European markets are saying, I think we're going to go a long way to the high side today. All right, so this could actually be, guys, really, really quite good fun today. So bottom left-hand corner, guys, we'll break it down chart by chart. Both US markets look like they're hunting big longs. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Let me just double check that Fibonacci for you. That Fibonacci is 100% correct at this stage. What I am going to have to do is let me just show you with the S&P. I was looking to catch them on the way down. Now that these guys are potentially turning the market, that 60-minute fib is actually going to have to come back the other way. Okay, we've got that 4-hour fib running in the background, which is perfect. So ideally, guys and girls, if the 60-minute chart traders decide to get a wriggle on, if they do get above these key 60-minute chart reversals here, if we do get above that level there, guys, that is an incredible little level. If we do get above 6015.25, okay, fancy that. Okay, if we do get above that level there, okay, guys, again, the long range longs are going to be on. Okay, so we're going to call that a tipping point in the market. Now, what do I mean by tipping point? If we can get above that price, guys, and we hold above that price, that is going to encourage other buyers around the world to jump in. If we get stuck, guys, if we get stuck at that price and we can't go up, you might actually find out we end up with a failed 60-minute long. And if the 60-minute long fails, we're going to sell short for 60 minutes. So it'll be an interesting one to watch today. Guys, there's absolutely no doubt about that. Now, for the Nazi traders, guys, we've got this 90% Fibonacci. We know how these guys love to reverse off the 90%. Playing basically front guard to that 90%, guys, is this green 61.8. It would look like the NASDAQ is very, very happily turning off these 60-minute chart 76s. It's very, very happily turning off them. So I trust this is where Remy's actually gone long. Guys, if you have gone long, either off the static bar reversal, off these deltas here, or waited for the close over, and then you've gone long, guys, your trade is looking pretty good. Naturally, guys, the 50% Fibonacci of the day is going to be a reversal point. Guys, that'll be a reversal point for the NASDAQ traders. So if the buyers were to push the market up, guys, get caught on that 50%, we might be looking for a reversal leading into the open. Now, Steve, 60-minute in the smaller charts will tell the story. Absolutely. So Steve sent me a great little email today. I've actually read through that email in detail, which was absolutely phenomenal. So what we've got, guys, and to allude to what Steve's talking about, all right, this is also why I believe, guys, we're in for a really, really lovely buying session today. So this is your 1440, guys. This is your 1440 chart. Note we've got a minus 97 rated reversal. Now, what's actually occurred, guys, for literally 4 days in a row is the NASDAQ traders have tried to trigger and hold this daily reversal, and it's not working. All right, so note that we've got a lower low, then we've got a lower low, then we've got a match low, now we've got a higher low. This says to me, guys, that the US traders are potentially reversing the market long in anticipation of the high impact news, which is going to occur later on tonight. Guys, I do believe, I'll double check for you. I do believe that news is at 10:30 p.m. Tokyo time. Guys, let me just get that on the screen. I'll double check that for you while we are talking about it. Okay, make sure that we're on the right path on that one. Let me just get this here. So I do believe, guys, 10:30 p.m. Tokyo time tonight is when it is 10:30 p.m. We've got core PPI, and unemployment claims, guys. Now, naturally, guys, there's a lot of asset classes around the world that have absolutely bolted to the high side because of the pending change in political party, guys, over in the US. Suffice to say, guys, the indexes should be buying into the inauguration, not selling because of the inauguration. So as a result, guys, I would suggest if we do look at a bit of a sandy rally on both the Nasdaq and S&P 500, guys, unlike the previous years, there hasn't really been a reason to create a Santa rally. This year, they've got a reason. So I wouldn't be surprised at all, guys, if these daily candles fail to close underneath the low of the previous candle. We're going to turn around and we're going to send back the other way. Now, there will be a counter Fibonacci to this move. Guys, the counter Fibonacci is going to look like this. Okay, so these buyers might buy until they hit that 50%. Okay, very, very, very simplistic view of the market. But suffice to say, if that's a round number, it's very, very close to a round number, 21200. All right, so what we'll have to keep an eye on, 21200 is a long way away at this stage. Okay, it's all the way up the top of the jar. Okay, now there could be a different Fibonacci for you, guys, which is going to bring today's movement into context. If we were to put a Fibonacci just over this candle right here, this 50 fib is going to be a problem for us right here. Okay, right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little note for us on there, okay, saying potential. Now, it's a potential, guys, because you don't know if anyone else around the world is going to honor it at this point in time. It could be a potential buyer stall point. Okay, now, again, we're a big fan, guys, big fan of Fibonacci, particularly as futures traders. The reason being is that every trader in the world gets their data from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, in the case of the markets we're looking at. As a result of everybody getting their data from the CME, everybody's got exactly the same price data, which means all of our Fibonacci's are almost identical. What does that ultimately mean? We should all basically be drawing the same conclusion at about the same time. Now, that being said, guys, we've got around about 7 minutes until the gun goes. In fact, 6 minutes until the gun goes. So what I want to do is for the FDAX traders, if we were to sell down, guys, we've got incredible buying opportunity down here at these twin 76s. Now, as if the market does break, down, it's probably going to 18,091 at this point in time. Guys, I don't think we're going to be breaking to the downside, but we'll just wait and see what the market does for us. Guys, FDAX daily fib, I've changed the direction. I've drawn it up to catch them on the way down. Yesterday, we were down to catch them on the way up. Suffice to say, it's honoring the 76s perfectly, guys. So I do believe that we're on the right side of the equation on that one. Guys, now, that being said, guys, we've got yesterday's low as a buy point in the market. The FDAX has triggered that already. Typically, it will trigger that buy point inside the cash market. So please be advised that if we do sell down, guys, very, very similar to yesterday, if we do sell down, guys, we're going to be targeting some static bar reversals, primarily this one right here with the 2 rating on it is the one I'm chasing if we do get a sell down. What else have we got? Guys, we know about the volume as 50,000. So we're looking at ideally, guys, between 10 and 12 really, really good trades spread across the 3 markets. We know about the volume. We know about the news. We'll get rid of that one. Something to remember that the European markets have a gap to close to the high side. That's a very, very strong gap. So, guys, we've got all of the markets, the 60-minute charts. Everybody is lining up for big moves to the high side. So both the S&P and Nasdaq, guys, you're in beautiful 15-minute chart reversals long. The Nasdaq is absolutely stunning. You guys are also in 30-minute chart longs. Again, the price movement on that is absolutely stunning. FDAX has got complementary signals on the 15-minute chart. So everybody is about buying, guys, today, which is good because it means that we're going to be, at this stage, guys, with the start of the session coming, We're probably going to get a bit of a sell down, as we'll get a little bit of a sell down on open, potentially a bit of a sell down on open, and then we'll basically assess as we roll into the session. If the FDAX guys, if the Europeans do sell down, just be aware that we've got. I can get rid of that Fibonacci. We don't need that yet. Guys, we've got a very, very key buying point here, guys. Orange Fibonacci, pink Fibonacci. If we do sell down hard, guys, if we get to 4735, if we pop below that, the market's going to collapse. I don't see the market doing that today with the sort of the positive vibe that we've clearly got in the market. Now, the danger charts. Guys, danger charts for us, the FESX 1440. So at this point in time, guys, we've got a low ratio static bar reversal to the high side, hence the loyalty to buying today. What they've done, guys, if they've come down, see my little black arrow on the left-hand side there? They've basically come down, guys, that's a static bar reversal long. They've also come and picked up this efficient candle here and said, you know what, we're going to buy off the low point we bought on last time on the daily chart. If we drop down to the 4-hour chart, guys, note that we have loaded. So we basically had, for yesterday's session, we had a 4-hour swing trigger short, markets run down. Effectively, guys, we've opened in a 4-hour static bar reversal long, guys, on the FESX, meaning that our loyalty will be for long range buys and short range shorts. Now, for those people that are new to the session, it means that when we do short the market today, we're going to use tight risk control and let the profit run. Well, in fact, two choices. Tight risk control, tight profit target, or tight risk control, let the profit run. Guys, if we pick up long range longs, if we pick up some really good longs, guys, you can be a little bit looser on your stop loss. Now, that does remind me, guys, if we were to sell down, guys, if we were to sell down on the NASDAQ, guys, and get to this price level here during the open, that would need quite a sell down by the Europeans. But if we did get that, guys, we can pick up these older static bar reversals over here on the left-hand side. Okay, so you've got two that I would primarily keep my eyes on. For the sellers, if we were to shoot up, guys, so I'm going to have to keep this chart a little bit small for you. If we were to shoot up, we're looking at those ones there. Now, for those people that know how to trade the opening candle, if you're looking for the market to get well above those levels, guys, before we turn and send it back the other way. So 4-hour chart, we know what they're doing, guys. This is the gap that mathematically the FESX must close. So there's a huge magnet, guys, for the market to basically say, hey, we're going to repair all the damage you did to us over the last couple of days and simply head back the other way because of that price gap. Drop down to the 60-minute chart. Guys, immediately that attracts my attention. There's going to be a 60-minute chart Fibonacci extension here. That doesn't yet apply to the FDAX, guys. But again, if we get a real wriggle onto the high side, guys, please remind me that we may need a 60-minute chart extension, guys, on the FDAX. We're naturally looking for the key Fibonacci levels. We always do, guys, on the DAXy. Guys, down to the 15-minute chart, guys, simply just assess what they're doing as we come into open. I'd suggest the first signal, guys, for the FDAX traders, which will trigger, guys, literally inside 45 seconds. Well, the market will open in 45 seconds. That must be very, very clear. If we do get a nice little push up, guys, the FDAX traders are looking at a static bar reversal here. As provided you trade a static bar reversal, guys, on the open, I would suggest, guys, we're looking at dominant candle 133 extensions here. Okay, so therefore, that would be the most recent candle. I note with interest, guys, they're already stalling around the 133. All right, so for those that trade the opening candle, guys, I'll talk you into it as best as I can. Our backup trade, guys, is the static bar reversal down the bottom here. Okay, they're moving real quick. Okay, so again, let's just watch them very, very closely. They've just blown my Fibonacci, which is fine, guys. They're clearly allowed to do that. So for those that trade the opening candle, guys, on FDAX, what we're looking for is we're looking for this candle to go climactic. We're not quite there yet, but we're going to get there relatively quickly. For those that are not aware, climactic is an extreme volume warning that comes into the market to tell us that a team is using way, way, way too much volume. Now, what we're looking for at this stage is if you do trade the opening candle, Let's just they haven't gone climactic yet, guys. So we're going to let them go climactic first. Okay, let's just watch very, very closely. Very, very closely. I'm going to put an order on, guys, I put an order on at 2-3. So for those that trade the opening candle, as we're looking at an order going on at the 2-3 mark. All right, so 2 points inside the pre-top. I would suggest, guys, these FTAX traders are going to be quite violent. Okay, quite violent indeed. Now, those 76 fibs, as we're clearly running into 60-minute chart resistance. This candle's turned mustard green, so these buyers have got a lot of trouble. Guys, they're in trouble already. So again, if you are an opening candle trader, guys, your entry's at 2-3. Your first target is 1-7, and your risk control point is 1-7. So this is only for the experienced traders, please. All right, so no brand new traders on this one because the opening candle can get a little bit crazy. Your first target, guys, is 1-7. Your second target is 1-2. Okay, second target is 1-2. Right, you threw your first target. Well, there's no question about that. Second target is 1-2. I'd suggest that's going to get hit in the next 25 to 30 seconds. So just let them bop along. FESX is already charging, guys, to the 50 fib of the day, which is mathematically what it normally does. So give these guys around 13 more seconds. I'd suggest 1-1-2. There you go, guys. 1-1-2 is taken out as well. So if you are short, guys, if you are short at 2-3, your first target is 1-1-7. Your second target is 1-1-2, and you've already gone through those targets. All right. So well done, FTAX traders. Matt, nice trade. +5, +10. Matt, I think I owe you a call on one-on-one coaching. Right, so if that's the case, man, I'll flick you a message tomorrow. Dan, you got 5 and 10 on the FTAX. Well done. That's fantastic. That's Dan almost cooked. Christian, you got 5 and 10 on the PMB as well, which is great. Good. Now, guys, note that it's only gone and paid its first 2 targets. That's okay. The FESX, guys, the FESXX, I've said it again, must be Friday. The FESX normally gets down to the 50 fib of the day, so there is probably some more selling coming in as for the FTAX traders. So there may be a re-entry, guys, there may be a re-entry. Again, it's only for the experienced traders. Guys, if you don't trade twice on the opening candle, this is not for you. It looks like they're going to set up, guys, a brand new short at 23. So if they set up a brand new short at 23, then we would be looking to go short again. As if you trade twice on the opening candle, a number of people don't trade twice on the opening candle, as they wait for the opening candle to close and then ultimately trade. Now, for those that are watching the FTAX very closely, again, guys, if we close outside the range or above the pre-market box, there is no additional shorting. Okay, no additional shorting. If we close back inside the box, guys, typically on the next candle, these guys are going to tank. Got around 49 seconds until they determine whether they're going to tank or not. I think the FESX, guys, has got more push to the downside coming. It still hasn't got to the 50 fib of the day, which traditionally it does do inside the open of the market. Okay. Now, guys, just for those that have not been in our session before, there's a lot of traders that will not trade the FTAX in the last 90 seconds because it will increase their success rate if they pick up trades significantly earlier than that. Okay, so again, just be really sticklerish, guys, sticklerish with rules on the FTAX. It's a very, very easy market to trade. We've just got to respect the rules and make sure we do ultimately what we're told. So with 5 seconds to go, as these guys are not going to close back under the pre-market box. Christine, well done. Beautiful trade. Absolutely wonderful trade. Well done. So FTAX, we can't go up and we can't go down. I am expecting it to drop. The reason being is the FESX as a reference chart is caught under yesterday's high, so I think that is going to drop. NASDAQ traders, guys, if you trade off the 50 fib of the day, okay, if you trade under the 50 fib of the day as a reversal, guys, you may be picking up a reversal, guys, at exactly 32.25. So at exactly 32.25. The flip side of that is your volatility is very low. right? So it means that your first target and your risk control point at this stage are going to have to be 10 ticks. Now, again, at this stage, guys, we're waiting for them to move above. All right, we're not getting anywhere near that 50 fib at this point in time. Let me get rid of that Fibonacci altogether. I'm going to go to a far tighter Fibonacci, guys, on the NASDAQ. Okay, because the volatility is quite low. So we're going to go for a tighter fib. It may be, guys, it may be as tight as this one here. All right, so I'm going to draw my Fibonacci down on the 60-minute chart to catch them on the way up. 100%, that's what their Fibonacci is. So again, if you are a 76 fib reversal trader, guys, you want these guys to burn their volume, and you're looking for an entry at 36.75 short, right? 36.75. Now, again, there's quite a few experienced NASDAQ traders in the room today. So guys, if I miss something here, please jump on me. At this stage, you guys are looking for a short underneath the 76 fibs. Because your volatility is low, guys, you want the burn volume, which they're currently doing. You're going to use a 10-tick risk control point. That's a 10-tick risk control point. Let me look at your counter Fibonacci coming back the other way.
Mate, it's a 30-minute extension as well. Thank you, Andy. Yes.
Okay, thank you, mate. Brilliant. So at this stage, guys, this is only for the dynamic traders. So those people that enter dynamically on trades. If you enter statically, guys, this is not for you. Okay, if you enter statically, that means you're waiting for the candle to close before you take a trade. This little yellow box, guys, is your risk control box. So ideally, if these buyers are going to lose control of the NASDAQ at that 76 fib, then they should push way beyond that 10 ticks. Guys, please note, for those that haven't watched the session before, there are two styles of trading. There's dynamic and static. Static normally runs at a higher success rate because other traders around the world are going to be making decisions similar to what you're making at the time you're making them. Okay. Now, that being said, guys, at this point in time, the NASDAQ is being supported by buyers on the S&P 500. Okay, so let me get rid of that one. Let me get rid of that one for the moment. The buyers are not yet running out of steam on the S&P, but now they're starting to run out of steam. So at this stage, guys, you on the NASDAQ, you're in a reasonable place. Europe is going to turn probably in the next 35 seconds. We're going to start to see what they're going to do over the last minute or so of the candle. Again, at this stage, guys, the buyers are now blowing their volume on this NASDAQ. S&P, the buyers not quite yet. They're not quite running out of steam yet. So that's why the NASDAQ is kind of holding, going, you know, are we going to do this? I'd suggest probably towards the end of the candle, guys, these buyers are going to fade out pretty heavily when they look at Europe and say, you know what, Europe is failing badly. Now, please, guys, I'll determine the difference between dynamic and static entries for everybody, just so you can gauge, are you a static trader or a dynamic trader? Because some people love dynamic trades. Other people get nervous with them. So I'll tell you the difference between them so you can ultimately determine what style of trading you prefer. Now, at this stage, guys, the S&P 500 is building off the 50 of the day. Effectively, we're not going to be buying the S&P 500 into multiple pivots. So the NASDAQ is most likely to try and sell down here because it's going to look at its S&P 500 mates and say, you know what? We can't go up, so therefore you're not going up, so therefore we're going to go down, right? So if you are short on the NASDAQ, guys, at this stage, right, you want the sellers to move in the last 10 seconds of the candle, guys. Again, one of your key CSA principles is what do they do in the last 10 seconds? I do want the sellers, guys, on the NASDAQ, if you enter dynamically, I want the sellers to move us down towards the end of the candle. Now, the buyers have actually moved us up. The flip side of moving us up, guys, we've got a gap up on the S&P 500. So we do need the sellers to sell down relatively quickly, guys, on the NASDAQ through the bottom of that box. So you've just gone 9 ticks towards a 10-tick target. Guys, depending on your risk control today, please note your volatility is only 24. So again, guys, if you're using ATMs like Touch 9 Pay 2 or Touch 8 Pay 5, that's already gone 9 ticks towards a 10-tick target. Okay, so this is what we've got to be a little bit careful of today, as when we're reversing the NASDAQ. I'd suggest You've had one push, guys, that may have triggered your risk control. It certainly hasn't gone through your target. I think you're going to get a second push. We'll probably get a second push. I wouldn't be surprised if, what's Europe doing? Okay. We're not buying the buy, guys. We're not buying the buy on FDAX. All right. So we don't have any valid signals to the high side just yet on FDAX. Guys, the FDAX may be setting up a 90% Fibonacci retracement here. So for the static traders, you're waiting for a static bar reversal. For the dynamic traders, if we were to buy well above that 90%, you would look to sell at 165 with a risk control point at 160. Guys, I'm just keeping a very close eye on the NASDAQ. Guys, depending on your risk control, I would today, guys, have an ATM that has touched 9 or touch 8. So the moment it's gone 80% of the way to that 10-tick target, it cuts your risk off. If the market then bolts in your favor, that's great. If it doesn't matter. It can't lose any money on the trade. That's the big point today. I think we're looking at tiny little reversals short. And if we get valid longs, guys, we're going to try and hold those longs for a long time. That's what we're after. Okay. Okay, so just watching what the S&P is doing, guys, as a reference chart to the NASDAQ. The S&P is gapped up, guys, which means we are going to see buyers circling. The FDAX, guys, at this stage for the static bar traders, but the static traders, you guys are waiting to get all the way back to yesterday's high or the R1. Was this buying? Oh, here we go. Okay, this buying is being fueled, guys. This buying is being fueled by those 4-hour longs. If we get a valid long, guys, if we get a valid long, like the delta that is outside the range of that efficient candle just there, guys, if you get a delta outside the range of the longs are going to pay significantly more money, guys, than the shorts today. That's just the nature of the way the market is moving. Okay, so again, if you can pick up a valid long, like the delta there on the NASDAQ, guys, again, for those of you that are running the indicators, you've got these deltas running on your charts. If you do get a delta, guys, and it is outside the range of a very, very strong candle like this one just here, if these guys can't sell off those 76s, all they've done is trigger the risk control. The buyers have then taken control. If you are long, guys, on the NASDAQ, then you'd want to try and hold that long for around about 15 minutes, all right, if you can. Now, the long is already gone, depending on how you trade the delta. It's already gone around about 28 ticks to the high side. So that would be far enough, guys, in order to trigger a risk control. If we do fail at the pre-bottom, guys, if we do fail at the pre-bottom, then you're in a reasonable spot to say, righto, these guys have failed at a pivot. I may be looking at a short. Right? For those guys that want to be conservative, just wait for the candle to close. It's going to close in 1 minute and 17 seconds. If we close under the pre-bottom, we are looking for a short. Guys, if we get a selling delta on this particular candle, you would wait now, guys, for 1 minute and 6 seconds. Just wait for the candle to close. If we close under the pivot, we're looking for a double failure reversal. For the FDAX traders, say again?
Yes, to the brick wall.
Yes, 100%. So see the selling delta, guys, that's popping up there on the S&P 500, that little red line, that's a hint that the NASDAQ traders have lost control of their market. For the FDAX, guys, for the FDAX, again, we may be picking up a pivot-based reversal off yesterday's high. Guys, if we do, I'm happy to take an entry as low as 193. So we would need the buyers to push above 193. So we needed to push above 193 before then picking up a trade. So let's just watch the candle close, guys. It's a really, really important close coming. I note the FESX is holding under the R1. Okay, holding under the R1. So if we don't gap over the R1, guys, which we may do, let's just keep a very close eye on that. No, we're under the R1. All right, so the FDAX traders have permission to trade short, provided we find a reason for them to fail. Now, the NASDAQ traders, ironically, as you have closed over the top of your pre-bottom, which actually means the candle here, guys, this candle is a buying candle, okay, on the NASDAQ. So if you can hold the risk on the NASDAQ, right, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around about 60 ticks worth of risk, as we would need to go for around a 60 tick target. Now, let me just double check that Fibonacci. I'm going to need a bigger fib. So I'm going to need a bigger fib. So the NASDAQ, guys, again, if you are going to go long, guys, if you are going to go long, you're looking for an entry that is 2 ticks outside the range of the candle. So the entry is at 150.50. So 150.50, not on the body of the candle, please. You need the sellers to retrace to a Fibonacci and then take off. Guys, you're going to have a tight, guys, you're going to have tight risk control, but long range targets, please. All right, tight risk control, but long range targets. If we do move through, guys, if we do move through the high on the NASDAQ, guys, our next Fibonacci on the 60-minute chart, guys, is a long way away. Okay, long way away. So let me just double check what these guys are doing. Okay. So let's have a look. I would suggest, guys, that if the buyers can get a wriggle on the NASDAQ, so if the buyers can get a wriggle on, guys, they're going to try and move up to this 38 Fibonacci. There might be a different Fibonacci, guys, for me to jump on, and it's probably a 30-minute chart fib. Let me have a quick look. So again, guys and girls, only if you can carry the risk. Okay, I would be using, again, today, because the market doesn't quite know what it's doing yet. Okay, that looks like the Fibonacci they're using. So the NASI doesn't know quite what it's doing yet, guys. So an ATM of touch 8, pay 5, or something along those lines would be brilliant. The deltas on the FDAX, guys, are valid selling deltas. So if you are an FDAX trader, guys, and you do sell the deltas, you've got a delta at 167, you've got a delta at 164, and guys, you've got a delta down here at 156. The better of the delta are the two higher deltas up here, please. Okay, they are the better of the deltas. So it's a short at 167, guys, and a short at 164. Now, for the NASI traders, guys, we have literally gone far enough to trigger risk control. We haven't gone anywhere near targets yet. Okay, so depending on how you trade the market, guys, I would suggest today an ATM of touch 9 or touch 8 and then reduce your risk would be a really, really smart ATM. Guys, I believe that would be a very, very smart ATM. If you are long, guys, if you are long in the NASDAQ, guys, and you're looking for longer range targets, we do need this candle to close green, guys, because some of you do use different risk control to what I would suggest. We do need this candle to close green. We need it to close over this 61.8 Fibonacci, guys, that's off the 30-minute chart. The reason we want them to close green, guys, the reason we want them to close high is that we want the NASDAQ to close high. We want the S&P 500 to at least close green because we want the NASDAQ traders to try and push up to these higher extensions, higher retracements up here. Now, DAXI traders, you've got a valid short at 167, a valid short at 164. So you guys are looking for 5-point targets and 5-point risk control points. So guys, just to refresh everybody, if you're short at 167, your target's 162, right? If you're short at 164, your target is 159. Worst case scenario, you're short at 161, guys, and your target is 156. So that is if you trade a reversal delta, guys, if you trade a reversal delta, the buyers have lost control of the FDAX momentarily. So you're basically capitalizing on the buyers panicking by dropping sell orders into their stop losses. Now, the flip side, guys, with 22 seconds until the candle closes, we want the FESX to remain under its R1. We want a strong close coming in. American traders, I can't send you short. Okay, we're picking up a static bar reversal short. Okay, FDAX, you're through all of your targets, please. If you're short on the top 3 deltas, guys, any of the FDAX traders, if you're short on the top 3 deltas, guys, you've belted your target. That is not a valid short on FDAX. Guys, that's not a ratio-based SBR there. Not a ratio-based SBR. So for the NASDAQ traders, guys, we have actually picked up a valid static bar reversal short. Okay, it's a -2 rated static bar reversal short. Now, Again, guys, we're going to have to watch our risk. Guys, we're going to have to watch our risk. FDAX, I think I'm going to park you after those 3 deltas at this point in time. The only way the FDAX traders can trade, guys, draw a Fibonacci down the green candle. If you catch the buyers on the way up, then you might be able to pick up the top 3 deltas again going short, but you need to buy above the deltas before selling at those prices. Now, for the NASDAQ, guys, for the NASDAQ, I know we've got traders that are long for longer range targets. Okay, now, what we've got is a conundrum because the market says, I want to try a short range short. Now, I don't want the short range short to trigger. Is because we've got people that might be long for long range targets. If you do use tight risk control, guys, you've already had your ATM trigger. I've heard Akito's trigger in the background, so it means that everybody should have triggered. What I'm watching for, guys, is I'm watching for the buyers to buy here and fail at the 50 Fibonacci, which is again, they've failed twice there already. The sell signal, guys, the sell signal for those that trade static bar reversals short, the sell signal is actually at 43.25. Now, the deal with that is I need the buyers to push up and the sellers to slam them early. So that slam is coming. What it means is for the long range reversal traders, you might be carrying significantly more risk than I do. So therefore, even if we do pick up a little bit of a short, you guys, the long range traders, can obviously stay long. What I would prefer is that the short doesn't trigger. Okay, so at this point in time, if you do want to trade this little static bar reversal short here, put a Fibonacci over the turning candle. The buyers must retrace, fail, and then pick up your order. Now, guys, your order, I'm just going to put this one on to show you exactly what I mean. Your order would be at, call it 43 even. Okay, let me just put an order on. Technically, it's 43.25. So I'm going to put an order on at 43.25. Now, this is likely to move. This is likely to move far enough to hit a risk control point. Okay, here's my first little target here. My stop loss needs to be a little bit higher. It's very, very tight risk control. It's very tight risk control on these trades because we don't want to get on the wrong side of a short range reversal when the long range traders are still trying to push up to key market levels. Okay, so it's a valid static bar reversal short. We've got a reasonable retrace. We had a reasonable rejection. As I do know that I've got long range traders that are still long over the top of this candle who are looking for longer range targets. At this stage, the S&P 500, let me just double check. I'd suggest the reason let me just have a look. Okay, the S&P 500, guys, is sold down into the 50 fib of the micro trend. That's where the buyers are finding some kind of security on the NASDAQ. Now, I don't believe I've got that problem on the NASDAQ. No, I don't have that problem on the NASDAQ. So at this stage, the short sellers are still okay, guys, provided you've got a tight risk control. Okay, you must have a tight risk control. I'm just demonstrating this as best as I possibly can. You've got a Fibonacci extension on like that. So your 100%, guys, your risk control point is now just here below this current candle. So you need these sellers on the NASDAQ, guys, to absolutely obliterate that black line I've just put on the chart. Okay, absolutely obliterate it. FDAX traders, you've gone above all of your selling deltas. So you could have sold the market again at 167, 164, and 161. Guys, you could have resold the market again if you've chosen to. For the NASDAQ, guys, my stop's in the right spot. Okay, so I'm not going to increase my stop loss. At this point in time, I need to be 4 ticks above, guys. I may be about to take a losing trade. All right, just taking a losing trade. So what's occurring, guys, as we said in the brief, it's the long range longs that are going to win over the short range shorts. Okay, so I've just had a loss there, guys. I don't mind that. Okay, I'm trying to demonstrate, again, how to trade as best as you possibly can. It's a static bar reversal short. The reason we had a losing trade is because the S&P 500 was down into the 50 fib of the micro trend. I didn't draw that on before then saying the signal's okay. If I had have drawn that on, I would have said to the NASDAQ traders, we can't go short because of the 50 fib. So therefore, the long traders can stay long all the way through to these 76 fibs. All right. So guys, I do apologize. If you have taken a losing trade, again, it was mathematically perfect. The problem with the trade is the S&P's into the 50 fib of the micro trend. That's enough to stop the NASDAQ from falling, right? So I should have been a little bit faster with my S&P 500 Fibonacci, right? So that's my fault. If you have had a loss, guys, then we'll just, again, we understand why. So it's not human error. The fact is, it's not your error, I should say. I didn't put my Fibonacci on fast enough. Now, on a positive note, guys, for the FTX traders, if you waited for the buyers to move over the top of your selling deltas, guys, you've got to sell at 167. You've got a higher one there at 164. Guys, the higher delta has clearly gone through its profit target. I would suggest the buyers are going to show a little bit. Guys, the buyers are going to show a little bit on Europe. They're probably going to fail. If we do get a higher high, we might be looking for the same deltas to go short again. Now, if you did get a negative, guys, on NASDAQ, I've had a negative as well. The lesson is I didn't put my Fibonacci on the S&P 500 fast enough. That's completely my fault, that one. So we're looking now for guidance. Guys, we're looking now for guidance on what these guys are about to do. Louis, you've got a 4-hour SPR, 2158, 21158, 158. Greg, +8 times 30, +1 times 20 on the S&P short. Okay, well done, mate. Fantastic trade. FTX traders, we're looking for, in a perfect world, we're looking for a higher high. Okay, looking for a higher high. Your volatility is, guys, allowing for 5 and 10 point targets very easily, guys, if we do get that higher high. For the Nazi traders, for those who are long, guys, if you are long, right, the market is traveling in the direction that it's meant to. So for those that are holding for longer range trades, I would suggest, guys, at this stage, the NASDAQ is going to move up to a pivot. Guys, it is going to move up to a pivot. It could move up to a previous daily close. I do have a point, guys, here where we may actually be stalling. Let me just double check I'm in the right place on that one. We are. Okay, so let's just watch very, very, very closely. For the FTX traders, you now have a higher high. So guys, the best of the deltas, okay, the best of the deltas is the highest one at 167. The flip side of the deltas, if the FESX, guys, down the bottom here, if the FESX does close over the top of the R1, so if we do close over the top of the R1, we don't want to short the FTX. The only thing we can do is go long, as if we get a valid close on the FESX over the R1. Let me just watch this NASDAQ very closely. If you have had a losing trade on the NASDAQ, guys, we're simply just going to go and get it back again. I wouldn't be looking at changing your ATM, guys. What I would be doing is extending your target out to make sure that you get on the right side of the market. Let me just have a look. Okay. This signal here, guys, will take around 15 minutes to mature. Right, this buy signal just here. So if you are long, guys, if you are long on the NASDAQ, as I was saying before, we're going to have two groups in the trading room. We'll have those people long on the NASDAQ for long range targets, and we'll have those people that went short for a short range. As it turns out, guys, that was my mistake. If you are long on the NASDAQ, guys, for up to 15 minutes, you're sitting at around about the 30, 40, even 50 tick mark. So based on the volatility of the market, guys, that's probably as far as they're going to go for a medium range profit target. For the FTX traders, guys, the FESX is closed over the R1. Therefore, we're not looking to go short. Guys, the only thing we can do is go long. guys, on the FDAX. The flip side, guys, the flip side of that, because we've closed over the R1 on the FESX, the delta's in the circle, guys, we're going to have to wait for the R1 to get back, sorry, the FESX to get back under the R1 before we're looking for those shorts. Okay, so no shorts on the FDAX at this stage. For the NASDAQ, guys, I believe we're trading up into the open, previous 240-minute close and a previous daily close. I believe that's what we're doing. The S&P 500 is also doing the same. It's also doing the same. What does that ultimately mean? I would suggest, guys, for those that trade dynamically, you're waiting for the buyers to push through these levels and fail. I'd suggest the best entry, if you trade dynamically, guys, will be 2 ticks underneath the 76.8 Fibonacci, guys, the 76.8 Fib. Again, I would personally, guys, look for the market to push through that level first and fail, because your entry is short at 164. Now, if you do trade dynamically, guys, and you want to go short and you have had a losing trade, then, guys, if the loss was -30 or -40, I would literally go and get that back, guys. So literally go for a 40-tick target. I wouldn't start overriding your automated risk control or anything along those lines. Naturally, if the market has gone in the way we didn't expect it to, eventually it will produce a valid signal, and we'll just grab it and go and get our money back, plus some more in a perfect world. Cody, I'm going to turn your mic is ready to roll in case you see something that I can't see. Damsey, you're in the same boat. In the same boat.
Hey, mate.
Okay. FDAX traders. We may be about to pick up a dynamic trade, guys, off yesterday's high. Now, if you are going to trade, guys, off yesterday's high, again, I would like to see the buyers push well through yesterday's high and get absolutely drilled. Guys, the reason being is each of the efficient candles, guys, like this little efficient candle here, is a valid buying signal. The delta outside the range of that candle is also a valid buying signal. So you can see that all of the buying signals, guys, are moving to profit. It's the selling signals that are potentially struggling. And guys, that's because of those 4-hour longs and the 60-minute longs we were talking about before. So some of the bigger traders, guys, you might be long over the top of this candle, holding it for 15 minutes to assess where the market goes. The market has moved in your favor, so therefore you're going to hold it for another 15 minutes with the intent to see, can you get it to push through these levels? Now, this is a lot of level, guys, a lot of level for these guys to push through. So some of the 76 fib reversal traders, guys, will be looking for a short, guys, as I spoke earlier, at 164. So you're looking for a short at 164. And guys, key point is if Europe does decide to turn at this point in time, okay, if Europe does decide to turn, guys, there's nothing stopping this NASDAQ selling at least 30, 40, 50 ticks in your favor, which should enable, if you've had a losing trade, it should enable you to go and get that loss back. Okay, S&P 500, guys, has set up a reversal. Okay, there's no question about that. What we do have to be aware of, guys, both NASDAQ and S&P 500, guys, if you draw a Fibonacci up to catch them on the way down, the S&P is likely to sell down only as far as where it sold down before. So we're looking at very, very tight, guys, very, very tight movement on the S&P. That's going to be reflected on the NASDAQ until both of them decide they're going to reverse. Okay, if both of them decide they're going to reverse and we get a reversal, guys, on Europe, that's when we're going to turn and pick up a 100-tick, 120-tick reversal, which will be obviously quite good fun. Now, for those of you guys watching the FDAX, we've pushed into yesterday's high. Okay, I want them to get well above yesterday's high and fail, or push a number of times into yesterday's high. If you have pushed into yesterday's high, guys, if you have gone short underneath yesterday's high, guys, your short is at 194 or 193. We spoke about that price before. For those that are not short yet, guys, if you are an FDAX trader and you're not short yet, you want the buyers to push up. Guys, ideally around the 195 mark, you're looking to go short at 194 or 193. Guys, 194 or 193. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. If I can get in at the right price, don't you do that, please. So guys, I'm looking for an entry at 194 or 193. Okay, I need to obviously be above that in order to pick up the entry. I haven't got anywhere near it yet. So that being said, guys and girls, if you have gone short already at 194, oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go for a 193. So I'm going to go for a 193. So that sits me around about 3 points underneath. So 3 points underneath. Let me just have a look at my, I've got no Fibonacci retracement concern, guys, on that entry. I've got no Fibonacci retracement concern. I've now got a match high. A higher high would be a lot more fun. So the NASDAQ long range traders, guys, so those people that held the trade for 15 minutes and you're now holding for another 15 minutes, you guys are moving away very, very quickly into the distance, which is exciting. FDAX, guys, at this stage, I still haven't been picked up on my trade. Okay, now if these guys, let me give you an idea of what the FDAX may be doing, guys. So let me get rid of my order for a moment. Any valid buying signal, guys, on the FDAX today, because the momentum globally is literally just buy. Any efficient candle, guys, like this one just here. Okay, that one is there if it's got the right risk, or the delta outside the range of that candle. Guys, whoops, wrong button. The delta outside the range of that candle is absolutely brilliant. As what I think for the FDAX traders, what we're waiting on is we're waiting on a static stall in the market, or we're waiting for the buyers to shoot up just like they've done then and get absolutely drilled. And so that pivot is at 196. So again, guys, what are we time-wise? Okay, I'm putting my order back on at 194. If I was to get engaged in this trade, guys, I want to get engaged before the last 90 seconds, right? Before the last 90 seconds. So let's just watch the countdown occurring. Okay, S&P is shot to the high side. So anybody, guys, anybody in long range longs? Do I have anybody, guys, in long range longs? We do. So Andrew, 192 ticks total for tonight. Well done. So you are long from the bottom of the jar, mate. That is absolutely fantastic. Long plus a scale in on the delta. Remy, well done, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Richard, you got plus 102 on the NQ. Good. So guys, I've got a number of traders that are clearly long for long range targets as per the brief at the start of the session. What we'll do is if the market stalls, let me watch this FDAX. Guys, I'm not getting picked up inside the first sort of 3.5 minutes of the candle. So I'll now wait for this candle to close under yesterday's high and then seek to get exactly the same trade. So for the long range traders, your goals are absolutely brilliant. Guys, for those that are not long on long range targets, we're going to have to wait for the markets all to stall and turn, and then we're going to pick up some really, really lovely shorts. Now, for the FDAX, guys, again, for the FDAX, if we close back under yesterday's high, okay, and the FESX was to close back underneath its R1, then we're looking to try and pick up that yesterday's high short, guys, at 194. If we do get a big efficient candle, guys, it closes over yesterday's high and over the R1, so around about 35, 36 seconds from now, we're actually picking up a long, not a short, right? So this is how undecided the market is today, which makes our job a little bit difficult. But once it decides to stop, guys, it is going to set up a really lovely reversal. And the way around that, guys, is simply to wait for a static trade. So literally wait for the static candle to fail, and then we'll end up with a big one. Ash, yeah, it's a really, really important point, mate. When the 4-hour trades, when the 4-hour markets or the 60-minute chart traders, let me just watch this FDAX. Right, Daxi, we've closed on yesterday's high, so I can't send you short. Right, so we're closing on a pivot, so we're going to have to just really, really careful about that at this point in time. Ash, what we always want to do, mate, what we always want to do is if the 60-minute chart and the 4-hour charts are saying go long, anytime we pick up a valid 5-minute chart long, like the efficient candle here on the FDAX, just there, or the delta that is outside the range of that, we want to jump on them as quickly as possible because the market will normally respond really quickly and also go a long way. If we want to reverse against, guys, against this style of market, we're looking for a static bar reversal, almost like what we got yesterday and the day before, right on the turn of the hour. 2 days ago, it produced a 130 tick move in around 15 minutes, guys, which was amazing. And guys, the flip side for the Nazi, every time we get an efficient candle, okay, like this one here, nice efficient candle, that one there is an efficient candle. Every time we get one of those, guys, if you can hold the risk behind the candle, you basically grab the trade and hold it for up to 15 minutes. Now that one has already gone at least 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 ticks to the high side. I said worst case scenario would have taken out all the short range targets, hasn't got any long range targets, but you've got no risk on the trade in case it turns. Now we are looking at turning. Okay, so this turn has actually been driven by the Europeans. If you are a delta trader on NASDAQ, guys, that delta is valid. Now the deal with the delta being valid, guys, we've got all of the markets turning. Now, if you are a selling delta trader, guys, guys, you've got no Fibonacci concern for a little bit. Okay, let me just show you what I mean by that. So there's our Fibonacci up. There's our nemesis, guys, the 50 Fibonacci. So the delta, there's no question the delta is valid. Guys, what we've got to be careful of is that the 50 Fib of the day is, the 50 Fib of the micro trend is just below where the delta is triggered. So it means if we get a number of selling pushes, guys, back down to the delta and it doesn't run, then we're going to have to control our risk. All right, today's actually quite a complex day. FDAX, I can't send you short just because we've closed onto yesterday's high. We are looking, guys, at this point in time, Europe may be turning. So for the static traders, guys, we're probably looking for a really lovely short setting up, guys, on the FDAX and the FESX. If that occurs, guys, we're going to get similar signals on both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. The Nazi is playing with these 76 fibs, guys, off the 60-minute chart. As the FDAX starts to accelerate here, guys, as we start to produce the first, the second, or the third delta, I always prefer, guys, the first one or two. The third is not too bad, but for the FDAX traders, you've got to look at your counter Fibonacci as well, please. So at this stage, guys, Europe is turning. So Europe is going to potentially drag everybody with us. If you are short on the top delta, guys, or the lower delta, you're looking for 5-point targets. Your counter Fibonacci looks like this. So at this stage, just watch that NASDAQ, guys. The sellers are really starting to gather momentum. The FDAX should move down here, guys. It should move down there. That puts the first two deltas on the FDAX in lovely profit. For the NASDAQ traders, we know this 50 Fib is here. So the NASDAQ has basically sold back down and tickled the 50 Fibonacci again. Shows you how sensitive they are to that level. We've only got 50 seconds to go on this one. What's it? Ahmed, well done. Well done. All right. The FDAX, guys, the FDAX. Okay, FDAX towards the end of the candle is getting really, really angry. You see all of these deltas starting to get plastered, through here. So guys, if you have gone short up here or you've gone short there, then you're looking okay. Guys, if you're waiting for the candle to close, we're getting a very, very strong candle down here on the FESX. Okay, very, very, very strong candle. So effectively, guys, for the delta traders on FDAX, if we close underneath the 50 Fib, guys, then we'd be looking to take this one here. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Guys, if we close high like that, guys, then the higher of the deltas is valid, but each of these guys is only for 5-point targets. So only for 5-point targets. Now, for the NASDAQ, it looks like we have gapped up once again into a pivot, guys. So we can't actually send the NASDAQ traders long. We can't send the S&P 500 traders long. we can only send the FDAX traders short. So FDAX traders, if you're short at 189, okay, if you waited for the candle to close and then went short, you're short at 189 for 184. That's obviously gone through its target. The FESX, guys, gave us an opportunity to close a very, very strong selling candle. Okay, it then got pushed back over the top of the pre-market box. So the sell down, guys, the sell down on the European market is probably not going to be that strong in the first sort of 2 or so minutes of the candle. Okay, now, interesting, they can prove me wrong. I'm very happy for them to prove me wrong. If you are short on the top FDAX delta or the second FDAX delta or the third FDAX delta, guys, all of those deltas have now gone through their profit targets. So if you are a delta trader on FDAX, guys, the delta is obviously winning the day on the FDAX, just literally just picking up sell after sell after sell after sell. NASDAQ, I say back to you guys, at this point in time, we can't buy the market up. Okay, not allowed to. We also can't sell underneath this static bar reversal short. Okay, because of the 50 fib of the micro trend. The sellers are very strong, guys, on the American markets at this point in time. Okay, I do know that some of you are short on that delta. So again, guys, we need to push through that 50 fib quickly with a large amount of volume. Okay, quickly and a large amount of volume. Now, you're watching what these guys are doing. Guys, here is your, okay, so you guys are going to cruise really, really nicely now. Here is your 10-tick risk control point, guys, if you're on that delta. So what the delta's done is it's gone well beyond, or the delta short has gone well beyond your first target and risk control point. For those that are trying to get a loss back from the NASDAQ, guys, you could very, very easily target these 76s down here, which will produce around about a 40-tick trade. It's highly likely the NASDAQ is going to try and push down to these 76s. Okay, now, FDAX, guys, if you picked up any of the 3 deltas, guys, any of the 3 deltas on this candle here, they've all gone well over target. FDAX traders with experience, you are short off a pivot, which means you can hold for long-range targets, please. I do hope that we've got some traders on that. Louis, 250 ticks on the NASDAQ. So, mate, you've been long for a while, Louis, which I think is really exciting. That's a huge trade. Even though we opened on the pivot. Matt, that's a great question, Matt. If the sellers are very, very strong, so I look for the relative efficiency of the candle. If the sellers are really strong, the deltas are good to go because the banks are selling at the deltas anyway, right? They're selling at the deltas, so that's why it's okay. For the NASDAQ traders, guys, at this stage, the sellers are still in command, right? No one's got anything at risk on the short. Okay, so everyone's controlled their risk. I am looking for, guys, I'm looking for 2 to 3 hits. I did take my eye off this NASDAQ. I'm looking for 2 to 3 hits of the 61.8. It's normally the 3rd hit where they break through. If you guys, if you are short on the NASDAQ, okay, on the delta, then please make sure you've got no risk on the trade. Okay, very, very important point, because if this is not the selling point in the market, we don't want to let the market go nicely into profit and then turn around and come out the other way. If you have gone short on the delta, guys, for half PVI, you've gone for a 20-tick target. It's actually gone 23 ticks. For those that are not aware, guys, PVI is a volatility indicator. If you've gone for half the volatility, guys, you've gone 23, 24 ticks towards a 20-tick target. I am watching for the sellers to burn out late in this candle, guys. And if so, if we close below that 61.8, as we are probably going to move down to the 76 fibs, which should actually end up producing a really nice trade. So here comes the 3rd kiss. So kiss and touch, guys. That's the 3rd kiss. Let's see what the buyers are going to do about the 61.8. Are they going to defend it? I'd suggest with Europe that strong, the NASDAQ traders are going to really struggle to defend that 61.8. So as a result, if you're still short, guys, you can hold for these 76s down here. Try and turn this into a really lovely winning trade. That is a very, very strong very, very strong S&P and NASDAQ candle. So I would suggest FDAX, you've got a 4-point turning bar short. So FDAX, you've got a 4-point turning bar short. NASDAQ, 4-point turning bar short. Everyone's got 4-point turning bars. There's no question about that. So what is likely to occur, guys, particularly on the NASDAQ, is you'll likely get a small retrace and you want it rejected very early. Right? So exactly what they're now doing, you would like them to retrace to the 23 Fibonacci, which is what they're now doing. You don't really want to retrace, guys, back to the 38. So you got a 23 retrace. You want the buyers to get buckled by the sellers. Okay, so again, no one's got any risk on the trade, guys. We're now just trying to maximize the profit as far as we can. FDAX, let me just double check. FDAX buyers still own the stair step, so you're looking for selling-based reversals. Always looking for selling-based reversals. Remy, you're doing very well. Daniel, too much risk. That's okay, mate. That's all right. Well done. So we got an S&P trader short off the open, which is fantastic. So well done. Well done, well done, well done. Again, guys, for the long range target traders on NASDAQ who are short, we don't want the buyers retracing much past the 38. That's traditionally where the NASDAQ would go. So if the sellers are going to fail, guys, if the buyers are going to fail, that's basically where they're going to fail. We need the green candle turned red and they're going to run for long range targets. If that doesn't occur, the buyers are likely to come back up, test this level again, guys, and then set up a second tier reversal short. Okay, so at this stage, we've touched the 38 twice. I'm just watching Europe. Guys, don't buy that delta on FDAX, please. All right, those buying deltas. We're not actually buying the FDAX, we're selling it. Now, if the FDAX does get back up, guys, above 185, if we do get back above 185, guys, sellers own the stair step. Buyers own the stair step. We're looking to pluck off that SBR, guys, off the pivot and potentially sell the market down. I see the FDAX, guys. We're definitely in the last 15 minutes. So for the FDAX traders, no new trades. For the NASDAQ, no new trades. All we're doing is trying to manage our existing trades to maximum profit. Now, again, the delta has quite obviously paid half PVI. It's gone well beyond a 20-tick target. If you did go for 10, guys, and whatever you can get your hands on, you're still short. We don't want the buyers above that 38 fib. So that's the third buying campaign, guys, to get above this 38 fib. If we start getting 4 and 5 campaigns, so they're back at break even now. So therefore, it doesn't look like the NASDAQ is ready to reverse yet. Not for long range targets, for short range targets, sure. And I'd suggest they're not ready to reverse yet, guys, because of the FDAX and the FESX coming back into this area. So just reminding the DAX traders, guys, we are in the last 15 minutes. I can't believe how quickly that time has gone. Therefore, no new trades on FDAX. You guys have had some pretty good trades today, right? The DAXy traders had some pretty good trades. For those coming to the masterclass tonight, guys, we are doing delta trading. Right? So the subject for the masterclass tonight is delta trading. So therefore, you guys are looking to if you want to trade the delta, guys, the masterclass is on tonight. So that's our month of masterclasses, guys. We're running across the sessions in November, guys, every Thursday. Now, this a little bit frustrating, guys, for the sellers today. We've got a valid sell signal. It's gone around about 23, 24 ticks to the downside, which is brilliant. The buyers have then pushed back up. Guys basically reloaded the delta again. Okay, so they've reloaded the sell again, and they're selling back off it again. So selling off the same point again. Louis, your trade was an absolute monster. So I have a sneaking suspicion that has got a lot to do with the 15 and 30-minute charts. So, mate, well done, 250 tick trade. That is really quite special. It really, really quite special indeed. Okay, let's have a quick look. Okay, so nothing on FDAX. Yeah, Louis, that's a great trade. But your mic, your mic. Let me grab it. If you want to, man, if you want to say something, jump on it. If not, I'm happy with that. Your trade is a monster, 250 ticks. That's absolutely brilliant. So I mean, a big well done, a big well done. All right, I'm just looking at the bigger charts, guys, as we come into the 60-minute close. It looks like, guys, it looks like on the American markets, the buyers have basically given up. Okay, so it looks like I've got static bar reversals short on the S&P. S&P is not as impressive, guys, as the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ looks absolutely wonderful to the downside. Okay, wonderful to the downside. For Greg, I've got 60-minute chart. Buyers are climactic on the S&P 500. That's for the Nazi traders. We're climactic on the 60-minute NASDAQ chart. FDAX, we're climactic on the 60-minute chart as well. All right, so everybody's climactic. What does it mean, guys? We're looking for long-range shorts on the turn of the hour, almost identical to 2 days ago. So what does it, guys, what does it ultimately mean? So 3 minutes and 20 seconds until the hour turns. What I would love to see, guys, what I would love to see is let me get rid of that Fibonacci, start to clean up the NASDAQ. Again, we've got this 4-point turning bar, guys. We've got the 4-point turning bar here, which is a very, very, very strong signal. Now, that 4-point turning bar there, ideally, we're going to trade that inside the new hour. So again, we're not putting orders on for 3 or so minutes. For the Nazi traders, I want to see some buying inside the new hour before we fail and then turn and fall. Once that's ultimately what I'm after. It looks like, even for the FDAX traders, it looks like the buyers may be stalling. Okay, it looks like the buyers might be stalling. All right, so let's see what we've got. For FDAX, we know the drill. We're looking for, ideally, let me get rid of that Fibonacci for you. You guys are looking for a brand new signal. So a brand new signal is inside the new hour. It would be amazing if we got a higher high. It would be amazing if we got a higher high. Ideally, for the FDAX traders, guys, you would be looking for, I'll just get rid of that Fibonacci to show you what we're doing. I'm going to draw a Fibonacci down to catch them on the way up. It's like this. So if we were, guys, inside the new hour, which starts in 1 minute and 40, if we were to push the market up and tag the R1 or tag those 76s, we're looking for a short underneath yesterday's high. What will fuel that short even more fun, guys, is if the FESX closes back under its R1. All right, so if we don't close under the R1, we're going to see some buying come in first before selling. Okay, this is good. This is exactly what we're expecting. Guys, I'll try and put the, okay, I'll try and put the, let me try and put this in context. Okay. So for the FDAXs, guys, you've got your higher high, buyers own the stair step. In a perfect world, guys, in a perfect world, we don't want them to close, guys, the hour, which is in 47 seconds. We don't want them to close over yesterday's high. Right? Otherwise, we can't reverse under yesterday's high. It would be magic if we close under the high. They then push the market up, fail at key levels, turn back around, and come back the other way. All right, so we're going to have to assess that in 32 seconds from now. Guys, please don't enter early. Guys, it's when you enter early, typically that you get in trouble, right? So we're not entering early, please. We've got to be very, very deliberate on the FDAX. Same as NASDAQ, guys. So we're waiting for the buyers to push into the close of the hour. Guys, at this point in time, again, guys, if we get a big efficient candle, like a big buying candle that closes over all of these levels, then again, we can't go short. Okay, that's exactly what we haven't got, which is brilliant. So for the NASDAQ traders, I'm looking for the buyers to push the market up first and then fail badly. Okay, fail badly. For the FDAX, right, you've closed over yesterday's high, guys, which means we've got no yesterday's high reversal. Okay, we're going to have to be a little bit patient on the FDAX, as it looks like they're going off into price discovery, see what they can ultimately find to the high side. The only trade we may get, guys, across here on the FDAX. Again, we may pick up, guys, we may pick up an R1 reversal here. Okay, may pick up an R1 reversal. We would need these buyers to push up and fail very badly. Okay, NASDAQ has gone way beyond those levels, guys, in order to reverse. So effectively now for NASDAQ, we're waiting for the buyers, guys. We're waiting for the buyers to stall at a known area. We've clearly got the gap, guys, running across the market here. Okay, clearly got the gap. To trade the gap safely, guys, we need the buyers to move well beyond the gap, turn around and come back down the other way. Okay, now again, dynamic versus static entry. I would wait for the buyers to start to run out of steam before I'm looking at shorting off these pivots. Every time we've gone short today, guys, every time we've gone short, okay, put it another way, every time we've got a big efficient candle, the buyers have taken control of the market and pushed it up. That's been fueled by the 4-hour longs we were talking about earlier. So again, valid buying signals today, guys, will generate long-range targets. Short signals, we have to be very, very tight on our risk control. Because if you haven't picked the turning point in the market, we're literally just reversing against the market that keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. So the fastest way to deal with that is enter statically. So wait for the candle to physically fail at a brick wall, and then look at taking a trade, guys, like we did earlier with the stall at the brick wall. Louis, you've done very, very well. Dominant candle 161, 6021. Okay, 6021. Okay, guys, watch this NASDAQ very, very closely. FDAX at this point in time, you are closing or seeking to close your gap. So again, we spoke about this earlier, guys, at the start of the session. Okay, but the FDAX is highly likely, guys, highly likely to try and climb all the way up here to 19,500. So that's at least another 200 points to the high side. Guys, that is fueling most of this buying, guys. Most of this buying, even on the US markets today, are being fueled by that one. So again, guys, if you're being careful, that's okay. We just wait for the candle to close, wait for them to confirm they're definitely failing at the brick wall. For the FDAX traders, you're about to pick up a long, right? So you're about to pick up an efficient CORPC bar with step and trend. Let me just check. Okay, let me just check. Okay, I'm going to bring your Fibonacci on. Right, because the FDAX traders will no doubt try and target the 4-hour 50 fib. So if that is the case, guys, if that is the case, the FDAX is highly likely to go to this green Fibonacci I'm just about to put on the chart. Okay, it's highly likely to try and chase that. No question about that. The FESX is going to do the same. Okay, so FESX is going to do the same. So FDAX, your deltas, guys, your deltas today after the market has failed at key areas, your deltas have been amazing on the way down. Guys, if you have been able to trade a delta on the way up outside the range of an efficient candle, it's also been really good. For the NASDAQ, guys, we're waiting for the candles to fail at brick walls, guys, before we take trades. And at this stage, the FDAX, guys, is going to pick up an absolutely beautiful long. Let me just double check that is correct. Ahmed, thank you. We are going to pick up an absolutely stunning long on the FDAX. The problem will be for most traders, the long is carrying too much risk. As that is a consideration for those people that need to watch their risk, which means the DAX traders are probably going to have to wait for a safer trade. I say safer, it is going to be a valid trade, guys. We're carrying too much risk on the FDAX, okay, at this stage. Again, so I'm not going to put you in on the FDAX, guys. That's literally too much risk. NASDAQ has gone all the way through to the top of my 30-minute chart extension. Sorry, 30-minute chart retrace. Nice. So that means we need a brand new Fibonacci. Okay, at this stage, yes, mate, that's what I'm looking at the moment. At this stage, I would suggest, we knew when we started the session, guys, we knew we're in 4-hour longs on the European markets, and those 4-hour longs are just fueling buying right across the board, which is very exciting if you're long, guys, very exciting if you're long. It's not exciting as if you're waiting for a trade. Let me just draw this in for you. Okay, I've got the NASDAQ. It's just like the FDAX approaching a 4-hour 50. Let me just put that on the screen for you. All right, now, in saying that, guys and girls, what have we got? We have got a very, very difficult NASDAQ. There's no question about that. For the FDAX traders, we can't go up. It's too much risk, guys. We can only go down. Now, again, if you're watching what the FDAX is doing, guys, I haven't got a higher high yet. If I was to get a higher high, that delta, again, is looking absolutely phenomenal at 245. It's got a tiny amount of risk. So I would love to see a higher high. It's absolutely brilliant. At this point in time, the sellers are not that strong yet. Okay, not that strong yet. So I want to see the buyers push in and fail, and then I'm looking at that delta of 245. 161, yeah, 161.8. Perfect. Guys, I'm just catching up with Fibonacci's because, again, we've got this huge, wonderful candle, guys, on the S&P 500. Guys, wonderful candle on the S&P. The flip side of the wonderful candle, they've used a lot of volume pushing through these previous levels. Right? So again, they're probably going to try and hold above those levels. There's a whole lot of reasons why the market is meant to go short at this point in time. Guys, but at this stage, no one agrees with the short. Our hourly turn, guys, on the NASDAQ may be about to occur. Okay, so we may be staring down the barrel of a ratio-based static bar reversal. Guys, I'm just going to try and get a Fibonacci match on this to see what they might be doing. Check, 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 check. Five-minute 141.4. I'm going to check the ABC that switched the trend. Okay, let me just check this one. Guys, because traditionally, as we did in coaching last night, it'll be the ABC that switched the trend that sets the Fibonacci for the move. It's just off. So my reading, guys, my reading of the world is at this point in time, I don't see us going much higher on this. Now, this might be the hourly turn. Now, for the FDAX traders, right, we were looking for a higher high. We wanted a tag of that 50 fib. So the FDAX is famous for going to the 50 fib on the 4-hour chart. Okay, famous. We can't go up. The risk is too much. We can only go down. So the higher high, guys, the higher high will result in 1, 2, 3. The delta is going to have around 15 points of risk. So around about 15 points of risk. Volatility says it will pay 5 and 10 very easily. It'll pay 5 and 20. Nice. Volatility says it'll probably pay quite well. If you can hold, guys, around 15, 16 points of risk, then your delta is okay to trade in the new candle. Nice. In the new candle. If you can't hold that risk, we've literally got too much. Just double checking. All right, so the FDAX has gapped down. I'm just watching what they're doing very early. Guys, now, right, so higher high, we're already pushing. Guys, the reason I'm watching the FTX for the FTX traders is we don't generally want to retrace much beyond the 76 fib. So what have these guys done? They've actually started at the 76 fib and started building. So it means the delta is not quite tradable yet. Again, if you can hold the risk on the long, guys, the risk on the long is amazing, but it's amazing. That's the problem with the long, is it's simply just got too much risk for most traders. I guess it's literally just got too much risk. Okay, now the flip side, guys, the flip side of that. Let me just check what's going on over here. We are still looking for long range reversals, guys, on the S&P, on the FTX. We're waiting for the market to stall and prove that it's definitely stalling. That selling delta, guys, on the FTX at this point in time, if you're watching the buyers fail at the 50% on the 4-hour chart and you're happy to go short at 257, right? So again, it's a short at 257. If you trade off the 50 fib of the 4-hour chart, and you use the delta in order to trade the market down, and you're allowed to carry the risk, then what we're looking for is we're looking for the market to fail at the 50 fib. Right? I've actually got 1 point of slip on entry. But again, if you are a delta trader, you're looking for the deltas to sell. You're looking for the delta to sell short. As ideally, you want the delta traders to run down and tease this delta here. For those that wait for a static entry, you're waiting for this candle to close before you look to enter. Right? So the difference between dynamic versus static is the dynamic traders are bouncing off price levels. Right? But if the market doesn't decide it's ready to reverse yet, we start to get the buyers pushing in against the sell. Now, again, if the buyers push in one more time and the sellers hit them again, just like they are at the moment, because you'll start to see more and more weight of sellers coming in over the top of the 50 fib on the 4-hour chart, because that's where the FTX normally fails. For the super careful FTX traders, guys, you're waiting for the candle to close in 2 minutes and 19 seconds before you take the trade. For those that are being a little bit less careful, you're waiting for 2 or 3 pushes up, which we've now had, before you say the buyers are failing, I'll put my sell order on. Guys, for those that are a little bit adventurous, because the volatility is up, you can actually grab, guys, your longer range target and move it down the screen. Right? So again, your risk control will all happen automatically. Everyone see my risk control is triggered. My first target's out. Cannot lose any money on this trade at all. Guys, if you want to try and chase a longer range target, you could have your stop loss slightly looser than mine, but it's still in profit. Okay, it's still in profit. What we're looking for the sellers to do is basically hunt the buyers' stop losses. If they get anywhere near that delta, guys, the market should start to move down quite nicely. Note that my first target is out. Can't lose any money on my second target. My risk to reward now, guys, is at least 20 times in my favor. It wasn't when the trade started. It is now. If the sellers decide that they want to sell down, it's brilliant. If they don't want to sell down, it doesn't matter. If you have gone short and you just want to do double 5-point targets, guys, then you're out on double 5-point targets. Again, your volatility is around 28. So it should go further. Guys, it should go further, but I have no risk. That's a really important point. I would love them to go further. All right, so I don't even want to look at the right. So the FESX is trying to sell. I've actually got 1 point of slip on my entry. I did want to be in, guys, on the delta. I did want to be in at 5.7. So I got in at 5.6. My risk is clearly positive. I'm hoping, guys, that the sellers sell down. The volume, all the CSA tells me that they are going to sell down. Again, mind you, I'm not carrying any risk, guys. This is the only way to deal. The only way to deal with an angry market. Guys, while I'm doing that on the, while I'm doing that on the FTX, the NASDAQ has generated a delta outside the range of a static bar reversal. That is the hourly turn trade. Okay, so I've just had my stop loss taken out, guys, on FTX, which is okay. What have we got, guys? That is the trade I was looking for, guys, on the NASDAQ, right? That delta is outside the range of a ratio-based static bar reversal. You've been given a higher high. It's off the 161.8. The sellers have sold down, grabbed you, and sold. So, interesting point, guys. I was tinkering on the FDAX. The FDAX traders, if we push back through to that 50 fib, do a really good job of it. Again, it's going to set up the short again at 257. So it'll set up the same short again. Do I have NASDAQ traders, guys, who are short on this delta? If you are short on the delta, guys, again, this is the turn of the hour trade.
Yes.
Of course, the moment I look at the FDAX, guys, the delta on the S&P is also valid. Guys, this is the turn of the hour trade on NASDAQ. If you did have a loss on the NASDAQ, this is the trade you're going to get all your money back on. Okay, so well done. I've got a number of people short, it looks like. Okay, good. FDAX traders, you can go short again, guys, at 257 if you trade off the 4-hour 50%. All right, if you're going short at 257, guys, your first target is 252. Guys, your first target is 252. Guys, NASDAQ traders, again, if you lost 40 ticks on that first trade, guys, you're already 10, 20, 30, you're already 40 ticks back into profit again. I would try, guys, if I was on the NASDAQ, and I do apologize, guys, I was over on the FDAX showing the FDAX traders how to execute their trade. If I was short, guys, on the NASDAQ at the moment, I would push for a minimum of these 76s, minimum of those 76s, which is a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 tick trade, 60 to 70 tick trade, which means if you have had a loss earlier, guys, on the NASDAQ, you can use the delta and the static bar reversal, which is the turn of the hour, in order to get all of that profit back again. Okay, so that is the one. So Akito's just left, guys. She's gone short on that delta for a 40 tick target. So 10, 20, 30, 40. It's gone 50, already 60 to the downside. Ahmed, you got plus 10 and 70. Oh, wow. Cole, well done. FDAX, you're making a higher high. Okay. So we've got a higher high on the FDAX, guys, which does mean if we've got agreement from the FESX, which we do have, guys, if you can hold the risk behind the candle, the short at 257 is valid again, guys. It's the same trade again. Now, let me just watch them very, very closely, guys, because we would need the buyers on the FDAX to get absolutely walloped, guys. If they pick up the short at 257, we're going to fly, guys. We'll potentially fly. Let's just wait and see what they do. For the Nazi traders, guys, do I have anyone who is short for long range targets, please? Because what we've got is we've got a delta outside the range of a static bar reversal. We've then got a 4-point turning bar short. Okay, so we've actually got, okay, yeah, of course, so the more experienced traders are short for longer range targets. For the junior traders, guys, if you've taken the SBR, you've got a delta in complement if you've just traded down to the 76 fibs. Again, guys, it's a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 tick trade. That is a really, really lovely trade. Guys, so I believe, that's how you got 10 and 70. Okay, well done. That's fantastic, mate. Well done. Now, for those that are short, guys, FDAX is starting to get beyond my risk profile. So for the FDAX traders, yeah, look, they're going to try and close the gap, guys. And what that means is, again, we're not going to enter in the last 90 seconds. If we do get a valid, efficient CORPC bar with step and trend, guys, so if we do get a valid buy signal, okay, we're looking for the sellers to push down, fail quickly, guys, fail quickly. We're going to pick up a long. Now, again, today, it's the longer range trades. Guys, it's the longer range trades to the high side that are probably going to produce the bigger returns. Okay, so let's see what the FDAX has got. The only way we can trade the FDAX long, guys, is if we get a retrace to a Fibonacci and a rejection to make sure that our risk is acceptable. Okay, so let me just see what these guys are doing. Okay, I'm just bringing my Fibonacci up. The delta outside the range of this candle is absolutely incredible, guys, if we get sellers before buyers. Well done. So good results coming in, guys, depending on how you trade. I'm just watching the FDAX. The delta, guys, if we get any selling, particularly down to that 23 fib, or if they can't even get to the 23 fib, the delta outside the range of the candle is a valid trade, provided you can hold the risk. Okay, now at this point in time, guys, I haven't got the sellers selling down to a Fibonacci. So again, I have to carry full risk on the trade. The flip side of the full risk, guys, is there's absolutely nothing stopping these buyers moving the market really nicely. So if I was long, guys, on the FDAX at 290, my first target and risk control point is 295. So basically, they've gone through, paid my first target, triggered my risk control, and got stuck. So the sellers might now sell down to a Fibonacci. Guys, they bounce off the Fibonacci, hit the delta again, and go again. So if you're waiting for the retrace and the rejection, we're starting to see the retrace, because we want acceptable risk, guys. We cannot get into the market with risk that is too much. Okay, so now we've got a 23 fib retracement. The risk on the trade around about 12 to 14 points, which is very, very different to behind the candle. Very, very different. I would suggest, guys, the FESX is going to try and push to the R2 because it's such an obvious number. They're also going to push to a Fibonacci extension. It's probably this extension here. Oh, let me just get rid of this. Whereas if you are going to go long on the FDAX, you have got a retrace, you have got a rejection. I'm just trying to do Fibonacci on the FESX in order to try and get this move in context. So guys, your first target on FDAX long, if you're long at 290, guys, your first target is 295. You're at your first target now. Yeah. So FDAX traders, if you waited for the retrace and you waited for the rejection and you use that, oh, beautiful. Oh, what a stunning lesson. If you guys waited for the retrace and you waited for the rejection, you said, Lockie, I can hold 13 or 14 points of risk. Awesome. I'm going to go for 5 and 13 or 14. It's just pumped 15 points in your favor really quickly. Guys, if I've got FDAX traders long, guys, at 290 on the delta, if you waited for the retrace, waited for the rejection, then put your order on to make sure you've got a very, very low risk to reward profile in your favor. Guys, that has just done exactly what it's mathematically meant to do. So FDAX traders, well done. That's a beautiful, mate, 10 points. So $400 in less than 10 seconds. That's probably the trade of the day on the FDAX. Guys, so finally for the FDAX, guys, we've been able to join the buying momentum with safe risk. Now, I know it's been like a teeth-pulling exercise for you guys today, but we've managed. I mean, these trades down here were amazing. It was absolutely amazing. These ones were amazing, sure, but this is the first time we've been able to join the FDAX with safe risk, and everyone that's taken the trade has been paid. Guys, note the FESX has gone to the R2. That's where we said they were going to go to. What does it ultimately mean? Guys, if the FDAX now turns, we're going to pick up a selling delta and it's going to collapse. The buyers are going to be sitting there panicking and we're going to collapse the market through all of their stop losses. For the NASDAQ traders, you guys have picked up the NASDAQ trade of the day, guys. So what did we say? It's going to be a static entry. All right, so there's your static bar reversal short. There's your delta outside the range of that. So the delta outside the range of the static entry has paid. Guys, the 4-point turning bar is a static entry, that's paid. This static bar reversal, guys, and the delta, guess what, was related to a static signal and it paid. Register for the Trading Pit Challenge account. How do I get the account across to my Ninja? Oh, Mark, that's easy to do. But I'm about to do a video on exactly how to do that. So that's probably going to help you out a lot. So guys, interesting point if I can. Every time, now I did mention this at the start, but it's a great little learning for everybody. Two styles of trading, dynamic versus static. Guys, if you entered dynamically on the NASDAQ today, we had a loss. If you entered statically, you've had nothing but wins. Now, as much as you've had to be a little bit more patient with your trades, you're walking away with an absolutely stunning success rate, which is brilliant. For the FDAX traders, if you waited for the static failure and then traded the deltas, you had 3 winning trades in a row. We then picked up the same 3 winning trades again, just here. So for the static traders, guys, for the static traders, those that wait for the candle to close and then trade, you guys are run at 100% strike rate. which is brilliant. Okay, now for those that were allowed to take the FDAX long, you've picked up a 3-rated candle, waited for the retrace, waited for the rejection, gone long again. It's a static entry. Right, so literally static after static after static after static, which is, as there could be a really cool little message there. Could be a cool little message for those that are looking for a very high strike rate with their trading. Now, guys, I can't believe it. We're 25 minutes into the second hour. This has been a very complex session to trade. So if you're brand new to what we do, guys, and you're in today, it's been really difficult trading. It's really difficult trading. But that's okay, because again, not every day is absolutely divine. Mind you, some of the results that have come in are absolutely brilliant. NASDAQ, your sellers still own the stair step. Sorry, buyers still own the stair step, I should say. Sorry. So what does it ultimately mean, guys? You may be looking to re-enter this 4-point turning bar short. Okay, so you've got this huge 4-point turning bar. The buyers still own the stair step. So basically what we've done is we've retraced back up, got underneath that 4-hour static bar reversal. The buyers have tried to pick up that delta short and failed, and the sellers are absolutely hitting them really hard. So guys, the delta outside the 4-point turning bar, guys, the sellers have pushed the market down through your targets. The buyers are then pushed back up. They've run into the same delta again, and they're being punished. Guys, they're being absolutely punished. So lesson being is, if you do trade the delta, guys, outside the range of that bar, which is the subject for the masterclass tonight, guys, if you do that, if the buyers still own the stair step, then you can hit that delta a number of times until eventually the buyers get too strong. So guys, look, we've had a loss on the NASDAQ today. The FDAX traders, you've had a series of wins, which is again brilliant. For the static traders on NASDAQ, you've had 100% strike rate. If you entered dynamically, guys, like I tried to show you before, we had a loss on that one. The long range traders, guys, today, as per the brief this afternoon, the long range traders, guys, that went long and stayed on the trade for 15 minutes, picked up a huge profit. So two different styles of trading, guys. I hope today I've shown you, again, there's 2 different styles. Again, if you're hunting for a really, really high strike rate, guys, just wait for the market to give you static entries and off you go. I'd suggest that's the case. So, Arlen, we've had a mixed bag today. The FDAX traders, I believe, have had a very good run. NASDAQ, we had a loss at the start. The long-range traders did very well. And then at the end, the NASDAQ traders had a chance to get all their profit back, plus a little bit more. So I'm hoping everyone's positive. I'm cross fingers. Today, very, very difficult day to trade, guys, simply because of the complexity of the 4-hour charts and the 60-minute charts. Perfect. Andy, 12, 35, 80, and 30. That's a huge result, mate. Well done. Well done. All right. So, Arlen, I think the markets are getting ready to reverse. They certainly look like they're getting ready to reverse. There's no doubt. And that typically occurs after a big bull run like this. It turns around and goes back the other way. So, can I say thank you for having us tonight? We did get a losing trade, but we got some winners as well. So I think that's kind of good fun.
Hey, it's all good balance. It's all good balance. It happens. What can you do? But more success then. It's fine.
I can only do my best. And again, the static traders will always end up with a higher success rate. That's just the way it goes. So.
Well, thank you so much, Lachlan, for today's session. We had quite a few people joining us from all over the media. We have some people here on Twitter watching us, on YouTube as well. So hi, guys. If you are interested in being part of the conversation, part of the chat with Lachlan, make sure to sign up for next week, for Thursday, for the live trading room Zoom session. Okay, the chat is happening on the Zoom, so make sure to sign up. You can find it in the webinar section on our website. And as well, guys, first of all, let's get back to the fact that we have NinjaTrader finally. I'm still not over it. Okay, we're really excited. We see people are already trading on NinjaTrader, using it with our Prime Futures challenges. So I'm very, very happy to see that. If you guys have any feedback, please do let us know. We're happy to hear what the traders have to say. But so far, so good. And yeah. I'm really, really happy to see that everyone here keeps showing up for the live trading room. Keep trading, keep learning, mutual effort. Okay, I love it. I love to see it. I will see you next week. on the same time, same place. Okay, same time, same place. Lachlan, thank you so much again for the session for today. And
My pleasure.
let's catch up next week. I might have interesting.
There's a couple of things you're working on in the background, which I think is really exciting. So well done. And Arlen, can I say thank you for having me, guys. Today, in summary, very technical session. We know why the markets were trending. The long range traders killed it. The short range traders, again, we had one loss, a couple of wins. But I hope, guys, you saw the difference today between static versus dynamic entry. So awesome. Arlen, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day ahead.